मित्रों, मेरे प्यारे भाइयों बहनों,
So, as you might have clearly guessed, the voice was of none other than but our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, and our topic is also in relation with him. Our topic is the development of agriculture and BT cotton seeds under his tenure of being the Chief Minister of Gujarat. So, me and my friends have tried explaining the different trends and policies undertaken during this time. Now, Vivek will take the topic ahead and continue the presentation.
So, during the period of 2001 to 2014, Gujarat achieved phenomenal growth and received tremendous praise both across India and the world. Modi was the chief minister of the state, and thus this development model is also known as Modi development model, where the people were made active partners and stakeholders in the development journey. When Narendra Modi took over as the chief minister, Gujarat was reeling under the effects of a devastating earthquake. The drought, cyclone, and the floods on the preceding year also slowed the development journey. Everyone thought uh, everyone thought the damage in Gujarat would take years to be undone, but Narendra Modi and his team proved everyone wrong by putting Gujarat on the path to recovery and development in a record time of under 3 years. The development of Gujarat was not centered around any one sector. All the three sectors, namely agriculture, industries, and service, had active contribution towards the growth of Gujarat. So today we are going to tell you all about the growth of agriculture, BT cotton in particular in Gujarat. So Gujarat's agri GDP registered an unprecedented growth of 9% during the period of 2001 to 14, as against the growth of around 3% during the 1990s. Agriculture contributed to about 11% of state's domestic production in 2011 to 12, as against 17% in 2001 to 2. This was more than India's agricultural growth rate and much faster than Punjab's farm growth in the Green Revolution heyday. This growth rate is among the fastest rates recorded anywhere in the world. So this change was possible due to following factors. First, a healthy combination of private and public sector initiatives had ensured stable agricultural growth in the state compared to the previous 2 decades when agricultural growth was volatile. Second, Gujarat is the leader by production and yield of groundnut and castor seeds. To add to the sector's performance is the strong growth in food grain production since 2000. Marked growth has been observed in case of wheat, with the production having increased from 1.1 million tons in 2001 to 4.2 million tons in 2011. Another fact, high value horticulture products were another source of growth. For instance, state's yield of onion was 24,000 kg per hectare in 2010 to 11, substantially higher than yield of 11,000 kg per hectare in Maharashtra, which is the largest producer of onion. The state contributes nearly a tenth to India's fruit output and ranks among the top 5 vegetable producers in the country. Major fruit grown in Gujarat are banana, mango, citrus, and sapota. Uh, Good marketing institutions were another important factor that propelled Gujarat agriculture, especially its dairy industry. So the Amul model of directly buying milk from farmer cooperatives, processing and distributing through millions of outlets ensured that the farmers received about 75 to 80% of consumers' price. The government of that period had made substantial progress in power generation and distribution in those 10 years. Total installed power capacity was nearly 9,000 megawatt in 2003 to 4, and this was 24,000 by March 2013. Modi's Jyotigram scheme for power provided regular, high quality electricity to villages, which greatly helped farmers. This has facilitated a switch to higher value crops like mango, banana, and wheat, which needed assured water. So next, Rohan will be covering about more factors and also the policies introduced by the Modi government which benefited agriculture during that period.
So more on Gujarat. So Gujarat is drought prone and more than 70% of its area is classified as either arid or semi-arid. And although journalists talk about the Sardar Sarovar project, its canal system is still hopelessly incomplete. No less than 82% of the irrigation comes from tube wells, and tube wells have depleted groundwater. Under Modi government, Gujarat has built over 1 lakh check dams, and these have helped greatly in increasing the agricultural production of Saurashtra and Kutch. The adoption of these new techniques has not only helped in increasing production, but they have also helped in saving electricity for the farmer. The state's Green Revolution company offers a subsidy to these farmers to adopt these new techniques. So basically the land which was lying fallow for several years is now getting irrigation through these new techniques and becoming more fit and fertile for farming. This achievement is due to effective and efficient water management. Also, research shows that rural roads are one of the most important investments for agriculture, and Gujarat has great rural roads. About 98.7% of the villages are linked together with these rural roads. Now let's talk about policies introduced by Modi government which benefited agriculture during this phase. Gujarat became the first state to implement agro-solar policy. So this agro-solar policy basically helped the farmers generate extra solar energy, and which helped them generate an additional income from the power generating companies. So basically the power generating companies would set up like these big solar panels near their farms, and it would help both the companies and the farmers. So Gujarat has the Asia's largest solar panel in Charanka village in Patan, and it is built on a 2000 hectare land. So Gujarat farmers have taken up modern methods of scientific farming, leaving behind their old traditional approaches with the help of soil health cards.
गुजरात एक ऐसा राज्य है जहां किसानों के पास सॉइल हेल्थ कार्ड है और उसके कारण उसे पता चलता है कि मेरी जमीन में क्या ताकत है, क्या नहीं है, क्या कमी है, कौन सा फर्टिलाइजर चाहिए, किस क्रॉप के लिए अनुकूल है, किस सीजन में क्या करना चाहिए, वो भली भांति जानता है.
So soil health cards basically proved to be a boon for the farmers because it helped educate them on the deficiencies of their land, and this also helped them to use the correct amount of fertilizer, as previously there was a tendency to overuse fertilizer which invariably changed the composition of the land. Considering this, the state government gave soil health cards to every farmer in the state. The Krishi Mahotsav program was launched in Gujarat by Modi, and basically it seeks to bridge the gap between technology and farming. The central thrust of this program can be mentioned in 3 points. So the first point is creating awareness in farmers by introducing them to multiple new techniques that they can implement. So the second point is to introduce the farmers to various government schemes and also providing subsidized inputs to the poor farmers. So the third point is to bring producers, input suppliers, policymakers all on the same platform to attain greater convergence across all different players within the sector. The policies mentioned above not only benefited the food crops but also benefited the non-food crops like cotton, cumin, fennel, groundnut, etc. and tobacco, etc. So high productivity of these non-food crops acts as a proof of the success of the policies undertaken. As a direct impact of these policies, Gujarat outperformed other states in India in a lot of sectors. Now, Naman will continue.
Hey guys, so now let's move our focus on the bold decision taken by the Modi government to commercially allow the use of BT cotton, which became a catalyst of change, and Gujarat benefited most from it. Now let's go a little back in time. During the late 90s, it became possible to identify genes, isolate them, know their functions, sequence them and transfer them from one organism to another. This led to the production of BT cotton seeds. It gets its name from Bacillus thuringiensis, which is a natural enemy of the bollworm.
सरकार इस साल फसल अच्छी नहीं हुई है सरकार.
अच्छा ऐसी बात है तो ये लो बीटी कॉटन सीड्स.
बीटी कॉटन सीड्स और फर्टिलाइजर्स के साथ अब प्रोडक्शन बहुत अच्छा होगा.
Now let's move back to the present. At present, India occupies the third position in the world in terms of cotton production and first position in terms of land for production, but has a very low yield because around 35% of the land is rainfall dependent, and a bad rain means bad harvest. Also, the cotton crop in India is highly susceptible to insects, pests, and about 166 different species of insects and pests are reported to attack cotton at various stages of its growth. So let's see how the story started. India was a late adopter of BT seeds, and Government of India gave its approval only after 2002 for its commercial cultivation. The Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh, that is RSS, had a huge role to play in influencing the government to give the approval. As the Chief Minister of Gujarat, Modi also encouraged BT cotton. Even now, as the Prime Minister, he touts the country as a GM destination. The Genetic Engineering Approval Committee initially gave its approval for 3 BT seeds, that is BT Mac 12, BT Mac 162 and BT Mac 184. Monsanto is the original producer of the seeds, and its Indian partner was Maharashtra Hybrid Seeds Company, MAHICO. Now, as an effect of this, there was a significant growth in the cotton yield after 2002 due to BT cotton itself. The cotton yield from 1990 to 2001 shows an annual growth of merely 1.45%, but when taken from 1990 to 2008, it is more than double, that is at 3.01%. Now, let's learn some advantages of this seed. The major agronomic advantage of BT cotton over the conventional cotton is the resistance to the bollworm pest, which was quite a headache for the farmers then. The major economic benefits are reduced needs for pesticides and yield superiority through the resistance over non-BT cotton varieties. The cost can be easily understood through the graph. Even though there are some potential environmental risks, the major environmental benefits include reduction in number of pesticides, spray, less exposure to pesticides for human. Even though this seed had many advantages, it also had a few disadvantages, namely, it resulted in less number of beings and animals and less pesticides in the water and soil. Those against indicated concerns such as the gene spread may have adverse impact on the ecosystem. BT cotton seeds were expensive in comparison to non-BT cotton seeds, and there was inadequate resistance, so the farmers may still require to use insecticides. Now I would like Tanuj to continue the story on our behalf. Thank you.
So after Naman told us about how BT cotton seeds made their entry in India and what are the advantages that it has over non-BT cotton seeds, to help understand things better, we have used finding from an IIM Ahmedabad case study. So talking about Gujarat, around 81% of the total cotton production is done with the help of BT seeds. The cultivation of all these BT seeds happens on irrigated fields of land, which means that apart from the rainwater used for cultivation, there are always alternative sources available, like drip water irrigation systems or tube wells or pipe systems. This many argue is one of the reason that Gujarat has better yield outputs than most of its neighboring states, and has helped Gujarat to become the largest producer of cotton seeds in India, with 36% of the total cotton produced in India coming from Gujarat, even though it has the second highest area for cultivation after Maharashtra. So going ahead, there are a large number of varieties of BT cotton seeds available throughout India. There are the normal MEC 12 and 162 seeds. Then there are hybrid seeds. Then there are also indigenously produced BT cotton seeds, which the farmers have produced on their own by crossing the male gametes of the BT cotton seeds with locally grown seeds. The average cost per hectare of BT cotton seeds used by the farmers in Gujarat was rupees 3079 per hectare. On an average, this cost was around 2 times the cost of non-BT cotton seeds. But the advantage was that BT cotton seeds required a lower number of pesticide spray, as well as the cost per hectare is lower. The cost of pesticides were higher for non-BT cotton seeds by an amount of rupees 436 per hectare in the year 2004 and 5. There's a large difference between the yield given by BT cotton seeds and non-BT cotton seeds. BT cotton seeds give around 28.4% better yields than non-BT cotton seeds. The total cost of cultivation under irrigated conditions is clearly higher than non-irrigated conditions. The average cost per hectare for BT cotton seeds was higher when compared to non-BT cotton seeds by a difference of rupees 1600. Added to this was that the cost for the pesticide spray for BT cotton seeds was 2732, which was lower than the cost of non-BT cotton seeds, which required 3168 rupees of pesticide sprays per hectare. The total value output of BT cotton seeds per hectare exceeded that of non-BT cotton seeds by 30.84%. These all factors taken together helped the farmer to have net profit per hectare from BT cotton seeds amounting to 34,200 rupees, and that of non-BT cotton seeds amounting to 21,880 rupees. As a result, the profit was clearly higher in cases of BT cotton seeds. Going forward and culminating all the data that I just presented before you, BT cotton seeds clearly had a positive impact on the cultivation and led to an increase in the output yield by around 30.71%. It is argued that the prices also increased by a big amount of 6.69%. However, the net profits increased by a huge margin of 73.81%, which still today are one of the highest profit margins earned by any farmers. Talking about the farmers' perspective of the BT seeds, because in the end they are the ones that are going to that use them in the market. They expressed that BT cotton seeds had major advantages. They gave them better yields. As a result, they could get higher profits. They could stimulate and forecast for the demands, and as a result take better loans. Apart from this, they also said that they received higher government support during these times. Though the farmers said that they couldn't differentiate much between the uses of pesticides for both the BT and non-BT cotton seeds, they clearly stated that the cost they required for the use of pesticides in case of BT cotton seeds was lower than in case of non-BT cotton seeds. Another disadvantage is that the farmers expressed was that BT cotton seeds had higher prices, and also many a times they weren't readily available in the market, as a result of which farmers had to shift to other hybrid seeds. In the conclusion, we would like to say that it has been discussed at length if the Modi method of development was actually a beneficial model, or it only gave support to certain select few individuals who could increase their incomes or revenues to a very large amount. But when it comes to agriculture, all the parties agree that it was an excellent move for agriculture, and agriculture achieved great heights. Around 94.1% of all the farmers were positive on continuing with BT cultivation in the future. It helped India's raw cotton export increase from a mere 10 million to 4 to 58 millions by 2011-2012. Today, India is the third largest exporter of cotton in the world thanks to BT seeds. Today, many new varieties of BT seeds are coming in the market. BT brinjal and BT tomatoes are some of the new BT seeds that are to be that may be introduced in the near future. There are a lot of debate on their environmental impact, but all these seeds would like to replicate the phenomenal growth that BT cotton seeds achieved in India. Thank you.